This album is my life. Like, Withered is my life. Petals of Thorns and Lost Petals are what I wanted my life to be, and then Withered is my life.
This Celeste and David saga just flipped from messy to downright disturbing. The feds think they've cracked the code with a timeline that paints David as reckless with Celeste. But just when everyone thought it was a slam dunk, his own brother Caleb jumped in with a shocking twist. He's saying the airtight timeline the feds dropped might not even be real. Here's how the feds laid it all out. They pieced together a timeline of David and Celeste that looks damning, almost like a movie script where every detail pushes him deeper into the corner. They claim it starts back in late 2021, early 2022, when David and Celeste first crossed paths online through Fortnite. The feds immediately flagged the age difference between them, calling it suspicious, uncomfortable, and worth a deeper look. Then things get darker. On March 28, 2022, David released a track called Decide. Buried in the lyrics are lines about save your tears and 7 years, which investigators say could be a cryptic nod to Celeste's age and him waiting for her to be older. That's the kind of detail that makes people's skin crawl. Fast forward to September 7th, 2022, Celeste's birthday, and David drops a song called Romantic on that exact day. Now, artists always tie their music to real-life emotions, but the timing here felt way too direct. The feds jumped on it instantly, saying it wasn't coincidence at all, but a dangerous pattern. And by October, things only got wilder as Discord chats started leaking into the spotlight, making the whole case look even messier. David was out here on Discord asking, "Is Celeste in here?" And she actually replies. From that point, 2023 is where everything starts spiraling out of control. A Twitch stream catches him laughing with Celeste about controversial topics before he suddenly panics and tells her to delete the VOD. That single clip had investigators raising their eyebrows, and from there, it only got darker. By February 2024, the alarm bells were deafening. Celeste's mom officially reports her missing for the first time. Meanwhile, people online are already blasting David in his own comments, saying things like the LAPD's gonna catch you. And just when the heat couldn't get worse, new photos of David and Celeste together pop up the same month. Every time she supposedly vanished, evidence kept surfacing that she was still around him, like she couldn't shake him, even if she tried. Spring 2024 brings another disappearance, followed by a brief return before she's gone again. By June, she's out of sight, but by August, she's spotted backstage with David. Discord users even start posting, "Drop the one with the missing girl, Celeste," like the internet itself was one step ahead of the cops. And then comes the darkest twist of all. September 2025, investigators uncover a body, dismembered, stuffed in the trunk of a Tesla. A Tesla registered in David's name. That discovery alone made the feds slam their case together like it was checkmate. Within days, the dominoes fell. Police raided his manager's house. His record label dropped him like dead weight, and David began frantically scrubbing Reddit and locking down his Fortnite stats, trying to cover his tracks. On paper, the feds' timeline looks bulletproof, every breadcrumb leading straight back to David. But here's the kicker. It's this exact same timeline that Caleb, his own brother, is now tearing apart in public. Caleb isn't just poking holes in the feds' case. He's flipping the whole thing upside down. He's basically saying those dates, songs, and receipts don't prove guilt. They prove someone set David up. But here's where it gets wild. Almost as soon as Caleb challenged the timeline, whispers started spreading that maybe, just maybe, he's secretly working with the cops. The rumors got vicious fast. Some said Caleb didn't just step away from David, he went full-on informant mode. Reddit threads accused him of snitching, digging into his own music and claiming his lyrics revealed he knew way more about Celeste than he ever admitted. If that's true, then Caleb isn't just the brother dropping bombshells. He's the brother helping investigators tighten the net around David. And let's be real. In hip-hop, being called a snitch is like a scarlet letter. Some fans cried betrayal, others called it justice. That split alone made Caleb a headline all by himself. Reports started circling that he might have voluntarily spoken with police, disturbed by the accusations hanging over David's name. At the same time, Reddit detectives went digging through Caleb's bars, insisting some of his rhymes lined up too perfectly with events between David and Celeste. Then came the blurry photo, supposedly showing Caleb backstage with Celeste at one of David's concerts. Suddenly, the internet wasn't just curious. They were demanding answers. Did Caleb know more than he let on? Did he stay quiet to protect himself? Or is he now scrambling to clear his name before this whole thing explodes even further? For now, the LAPD hasn't confirmed a thing, but their silence? It's only adding gasoline to the fire, and Caleb's name is stuck right in the middle of it. Some sources even claim Caleb has been working hand in hand with investigators, and once that hit the blogs, people ran with it like wildfire. Whether it's legit intel or just clout-chasing clickbait, the damage is already done. Caleb's name is tangled in the case now, and the real question is, if he is cooperating, what's his true angle? Is he trying to protect himself before the feds start connecting the dots to everyone in David's circle? Think about it. David's manager already got his house raided, and the label wasted no time cutting ties. Everyone close to him is bailing ship. So if Caleb steps in as the brother who flipped, this move could either be his lifeline or the dagger that finishes David once and for all. And it gets darker the more you dig. If Caleb really is feeding information, then suddenly all those cryptic songs, the strange voicemails, even the tattoos people picked apart online, they might not be random quirks. They could be evidence. The very puzzle pieces prosecutors need to seal David's fate in court. But before we slap the snitch label on Caleb, we gotta face the chaos coming from another angle, the internet rumor mill. From day one, false leads and viral posts have been muddying the waters. The most explosive? A viral pregnancy rumor that blew up on X with millions of views, claiming Celeste was pregnant when she died, and that infant remains were discovered near David's home. That post alone sent shockwaves, dragging the case into an even darker territory than anyone expected. That pregnancy rumor alone sent shockwaves ripping through the fan base. Suddenly, people weren't just talking about a twisted relationship gone wrong. They were painting it as something far darker. But here's the cold truth. That claim has been completely debunked. No forensic proof, no official reports, nothing from law enforcement to back it up. Just pure online gossip that spread like wildfire because fans were desperate to make sense of the madness. And just when that lie started to fade, another storm hit. This time, involving Celeste's own aunt. Screenshots started making the rounds showing her posting shoutouts, bragging about her new talent badge, and turning the tragedy into what looked like a content hustle. Some people called it straight-up clout chasing. Others said maybe it was just her way of coping. Either way, it made the family dynamics look messy, and fans couldn't stop side-eyeing the whole situation. Meanwhile, the noise kept building. False leads, family drama, viral conspiracies, until it felt impossible to separate fact from fiction. On one side, you've got federal investigators quietly piecing together a homicide case. On the other, you've got armchair detectives flooding Reddit and X with wild theories, half of which collapse under the slightest fact check. But here's the kicker. This chaos might not be random at all, because when timelines get swamped with fake stories, the real evidence gets buried deep. If someone wanted to cover their tracks or throw off investigators, drowning the internet in lies would be the easiest play imaginable. So now the question is, are fans just spinning wild theories out of grief? Or is this part of a much bigger scheme to cloud the truth? And this is where things turn downright chilling. While the internet was busy chasing fake rumors and wild conspiracy threads, the creepiest evidence might have been hiding in plain sight, inside David's own music. Once investigators started lining up his lyrics, his voicemails, and even his emotional meltdowns on stage, the vibe shifted. Suddenly, it didn't look like coincidence. It looked like confession. If the timeline wasn't damning enough and Caleb's rumors weren't already explosive, the darkest clues might actually be buried inside David's art. Every lyric dissected, every broken voicemail pulled apart, every stage breakdown replayed, and what surfaced felt less like creative expression and more like breadcrumbs to a crime. To understand it, you gotta look at David's background. His parents yanked him out of school, homeschooled him, and kept him under strict religious rules. He even admitted this himself during an interview with Dazed. Some insiders claim he was already obsessed with dark, violent themes as a teenager, fixated on blood, death, and chaos, and isolation only made those thoughts spiral further. Then came his blow-up online. Fame, money, and freedom all hit him at once, and according to fans, that mix turned toxic fast. Because while most artists celebrated the high life, David seemed consumed with one thing: Celeste. To him, she wasn't just a girlfriend. She was the centerpiece of his entire twisted universe. And here's the nightmare theory: that sometime between October and January, either just before or right after completing his last album, David finally crossed the line. To many, that album wasn't just music. It was the soundtrack to something far darker. When you start peeling back the layers of David's last album, the lyrics, the interviews, even the way he described his art, the theory starts sounding way less like fan fiction and way more like a chilling possibility. In one interview, David openly said, "That's what I feel for my art. It's beautiful for a time, so my music is only here for a temporary time. Withered is the process of going back to where I came from. I wanted the album to sound like a goodbye, a send-off to the next era or whatever I'm doing next." Looking back now, fans can't stop asking, was he saying goodbye to music or goodbye to Celeste herself? The line between metaphor and reality gets darker the more you listen. David would also obsess over the invisible string theory and the Korean concept of zong, a soul-deep bond that ties two people together, even when the relationship turns toxic. He once admitted, "The irony is that the person who taught me this begged me not to leave, but in the end, she left anyway. And now, that person is gone from his life completely. It's almost impossible not to connect those words to Celeste." Then there's the flower symbolism, eerie and impossible to ignore. His project Withered segued into talk of a deluxe release titled Japanese Lily. But here's the catch. In Japanese culture, the red spider lily isn't just a flower. It symbolizes death, mourning, and the separation between life and death itself. It blooms at the very moment summer fades into fall. Transition, endings, goodbyes. So fans are left questioning, was this just artistic metaphor, or was it a chilling breadcrumb trail leading to Celeste's fate? And the smoking gun that sent shivers through everyone? Celeste's actual voice showing up across David's tracks, from "I Never Needed You" to "So Long." Suddenly, the music doesn't sound like art anymore. It sounds like evidence. On David's album, you actually hear her voice, Celeste's voicemails crying, sounding drunk, apologizing, whispering that she misses him. In the first track, she even says, "You're always the one calling my phone. You have to figure out what's going on with you." It paints the image of a girl trying to pull away and a boy refusing to let go. Then came the SoundCloud track Satan's Pursuit, dropped in late 2023, and it's even darker. He raps, "It kills me slowly, day by day. I need to find somewhere to clean my thoughts, but I'm not happy at all. I let Satan pursue me. I still miss you the way it was before I threw my life away." Fans can't stop asking, was he confessing in real time? It wasn't just the recordings either. His live shows turned unnerving. In April 2025, during the BandLab experience, David completely broke down, sobbing in the middle of Afterlife, unable to finish the song. Then again in June, during another performance of the same track, he crumbled on stage. Was it grief, guilt, or both? No one knew, but everyone left shaken. Add it all up: the birth date releases, the flower and death imagery, the invisible string theory, Celeste's actual voice stitched into his tracks, his public meltdowns. And to many fans, it stops looking like coincidence. It looks like obsession, immortalized in music. And that leads to the darkest theory yet: that David lived with Celeste's body for months, then dumped her in a Tesla, hoping it would be towed and destroyed before anyone found her. Some even whisper he might have wanted to get caught, because why else would he scatter so many clues across his own art? But lurking underneath all of this is an even bigger question. If David really was spiraling this hard, then the question becomes unavoidable. Did the people closest to him, his management, his label, even his inner circle, know more than they've admitted? And if they did, how deep does this cover-up actually go? Suddenly, the spotlight shifts, because as much as fans point at David, others are starting to wonder if his team may have been complicit. Let's start with Josh Marshall, David's manager. Federal agents raided his home the same week Celeste's body was identified. Think about that. Why would the cops target the manager unless they suspected he was tied up in the mess too? And here's where it gets darker. Fans have been saying for months that Josh and the label weren't clueless. In fact, accusations already swirled that they enabled David, ignoring red flags about Celeste being a reported missing minor all the way back in 2024. If that's true, Josh can't hide behind ignorance. Celeste wasn't just another fan in the crowd. She was showing up backstage. She was in photos with the crew, and reports say she was still underage. Anyone around David could have looked at her and known something wasn't right. She needed fake IDs, she couldn't even drive. Yet there she was at his shows, right in the middle of his circle. So why didn't anyone step in? The theory is chillingly simple. They didn't care, because the money was rolling in. Protect the bag, ignore the signs, and it only gets shadier. After the LAPD searched David's rented apartment, reports claim Josh immediately pulled the plug on the lease. Fans saw that move not as business as usual, but as a cover-up, wiping away evidence before investigators could dig deeper. The label cut ties with David almost instantly, like they'd been bracing for the storm all along. And that's exactly where Caleb slides back into the picture. If his brother really is snitching, or at least quietly cooperating, then investigators may not just be circling David anymore. They could be closing in on everyone linked to him, management, the label, even family members. Caleb stepping back or feeding info could easily be his way of dodging the blast zone, while Josh and the label scramble to scrub their names before the heat hits. One thing's crystal clear now. David's no longer the only one under suspicion. His entire team is being dragged straight into the mud. And the deeper this case goes, the more people are convinced this wasn't just one artist spiraling out of control. It looks like an entire system built to shield him, until the truth grew too big to bury. If you've made it this far, let me know what you think. Do you believe this was just one man's downfall, or an entire operation? Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. And I'll see you on the next one.